Hello, family. I hope you're having a wonderful day today in this beautiful weather. It's a Saturday morning for Bridget and I, and we are just enjoying a gorgeous weather finally and not cold. So I hope that you are encouraged by my time that I get to spend this morning with Bridget Cornwell and that you would see God all through her story as she shares with us a little bit about herself. All right. Bridget, let's get started with our first question. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, raised, kind of a little bit about your childhood?
Okay. I was born in Ohio. My father's in the Navy. So we moved from Ohio to California to South Carolina and then eventually here to Maryland. I have one older brother, and he's currently in Alabama. So my childhood moving around, we got to Maryland when I think I was in first grade. My parents divorced right before we came here. So it was me, my brother, and my dad. And I would spend summers in New Hampshire with my mother, and both sets of grandparents live there. So that's where my brother and I would go in the summers.
And where did you graduate from high school? If you were
Poolsville.
Okay. So you're nearby.
Yes. And then I went to Montgomery Community College right after high school. I think only for one semester. And then I moved to Alaska and then to Florida and then to Alabama and back here, trying to figure out what I was doing.
And what did you do for a career job? Kind of tell us about your family now and your adult life.
My adult life. Well, I worked many jobs since I was 12, but I eventually became a nurse when I was 22. I went to college and all those places I moved after high school, but eventually I came back home and graduated from Montgomery College, where I started with my nursing degree. But that's okay. I had fun. And then I met Brad when I was 23. We got married when I was 25. And then we had Kylie when I was 27, and then two more kids. So I have Kylie, Josh, and Lizzie. I didn't grow up in the church. I didn't know Jesus. I'm trying to think what to say next.
Okay, so how about, do you have any hobbies, things you enjoy to do?
Well, I enjoy cleaning, which I think the whole church knows when I became a member a few months ago. I don't know if that's a hobby or just something I do to waste time. I'm not sure. But I enjoy jogging or working out. I do like to read, but unfortunately I don't have a lot of quiet time that I get to do that anymore. What else do I like to? I really like to shop. I like to spend time with friends and family and watch my kids do the things they like to do.
I love seeing your joy and watching your kids do that. I've seen you get excited about what your kids are doing.
Yes.
It shows a lot of love and excitement for the gifts they have. It's fun. Okay, so can you tell us, you already said you weren't a believer, you didn't grow up in a Christian home. How'd you come to know Christ? What's your journey?
Well, when I was, when Brad and I were right after Kylie, we kind of realized there's something missing. We didn't know what was missing. We had a good marriage. We were happy. He had a good career. I had a good career, but there was just something not there. Something was missing. So Kylie, I started her in dance when she was 2. And that first year I met a lady, and she was a pastor's wife, and she invited me to the church. So we decided we should go. And that's when it started. I get tearful because it's something I never thought I deserved. But over the past, I guess it's been 13, 14 years, I've realized the love that God has for me. It's like no other. Sorry.
Thank you. I love hearing your story. I always think it is such a beautiful example of God reaching out to take us out of the muck and mire that we have been in and bringing him to himself. And you express it in such a way that is so clear that you knew something was missing. And I always find that to be a good reminder of who Jesus is, that he met us when we were broken and not deserving of himself. Mm-hmm. And I think that is it's something that sometimes we can forget in the everyday moments of craziness. And so I think your telling of it is just a beautiful way of expressing that. I truly do say that.
This is why I don't talk a lot, because I just start crying. Well, I'm talking about God.
All right, next question. How have you been dealing with this time of quarantine? Has there been any scripture or song or something else that's helped you cope and handle this time?
Well, at first I thought it was great to be home and not have to run around and just everybody be here and get to eat together, because that doesn't happen often. Still not happening too often, but I thought it was, and I could get a lot of things done. But I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I realized with the schooling, it's becoming a little bit more difficult for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a lot of patience. I was very stressed. I think just with the news, the world, everything was starting to just get to me. And mm-hmm. I stopped getting up and reading the Bible and doing devotionals because other people were waking up at 6 o'clock with me, and that's my time. So I kind of stopped, and it was that same week that I got my first migraine in my life. I've never had a migraine, but for sure. And it lasted like 5 days, and Brad gets them. So he was pretty positive that's what it was. But during that time where it was going away, a friend of mine had reached out to me and sent me this thing about how women, and with all the duties and the things that we do as mothers and wives, that sometimes we don't have that quiet, peaceful time anymore. And it really spoke to me, because I think at the end it said something about how God, he comes to you. So mm-hmm. She sent me that. And then that same night, Kylie on our Bible app sent me like a devotional to do every day with her. And then the sermon last Sunday about worrying, it was like all like, okay, God he's trying to speak to me here. So that all has really, hit me hard. I need to stop worrying and enjoy this time and do the things that we can. Mm-hmm. But it was just, I used to say those things were funny, but that's how God works. Oh, and one of the scripture that I had to get my Bible, because I don't memorize things very well, in the Bible app Kylie had sent me was John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I remind you of everything I have said to you. Oh, sorry, that's not what it says. Hold on. It says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. So I keep going back to that.
And back to our John study from
Oh, yes. I learned a lot.
a couple of verses that have come out of that study that I'm like, oh yeah, I learned that 6 months ago. All right, so last question is, what is something you really miss and you look forward to doing after all of this is over or moving forward?
Okay. Well, I have a lot of things. As much as I thought the running around would be great, I do miss it a little bit. I miss seeing everybody when I'm running around.
Uh-huh.
And Kylie had a lot of competitions planned during this time, and I really look forward to seeing her again on the stage with her team. And I'm ready to get back to church, but and spending time with friends and family. It's been harder than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was fun for a short period of time, and
yes,
it's never ending. Yes. No. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today and for being part of this sort of series that we're doing on interviewing women and hearing the stories and what God has done in their lives. So thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week for another interview.